Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have any new library books. I'm kind of pissed off about that because yesterday, I could have gone yesterday, like late yesterday, yeah, but I could have gone yesterday because I learned the hard way that their new hours changed yesterday, but they didn't update it on their website or anything. So everywhere you looked up the Rogers Memorial Library, you never got the updated. It always said closed. It said closed. It like pissed me off because it was like I could have returned my books and gotten new books, but it did give me the time. It did give me time to finish the books, which is good. One of two books. One's a movie, but the other one, I gotta finish one of the books today, which is good. So I had time to do that. That's my point. But I could have done it yesterday, I'm sure. That book was Primer. This was actually one I did not show last time because it came in late. I was stupid and never looked up to make sure they didn't have it at my local library. And they always have said, oh, they're always bound to have the DC graphic novel kids ones. No, it was in there. It was in there between one. So it would have been in there like it would not have been in their kids section because that's obviously a place I never go to. Um, but this one was pretty good. I think it's into like with that Green Lantern Legacy one. A little bit less than that one because this one was definitely more kiddish than Green Lantern Legacy, but it was definitely it reminded me like a Pixar type thing. Like Pixar would make this not like Pixar, I mean DreamWorks, because Pixar I kind of feel like would make it as kiddish and make it a little bit more like mature, kind of like how like they did with the Inside Out. Like this she reminds me of Riley from Inside Out, the way she's like drawn and everything like that. Um, yeah, I guess the way she is too. I don't know, but this is definitely something that DreamWorks would make up, but they wouldn't. But they would. It would be one of their more positively reviewed books. It wouldn't be one of the ones that everyone hates. Obviously, I know I'm saying like that, but I like this one. This is definitely definitely recommend it. I'm stuttering like hell right now. I definitely recommend it for kids, obviously, and I think everyone like if you don't mind being talked down to, because there are certain points where you feel like you're being talked down to, because it is made for kids, and kids need to be sort of talked down to. And it wasn't like to the extent where kids were being talked down to. It's just for kids, so they're not gonna go too far with anything really. But I still liked it. I'm still glad I read it. Just one I would never pick up myself. It looked interesting, and one of my fellow YouTubers was talking about it. I mean, he talked about it in a post, and it was his daughters that were they got the book and they're young, so I should have put two and two together. But I always I knew it was a kid's book, and it was a pretty good one. Like it's one that like I feel like they put effort into, and there's obviously like the black kid. He's a kid. He's a guy, and he's drawn more feminine. And that's one of the things that people automatically point out as SJW. There definitely is that kind of stuff there. Like if you're really against that kind of stuff, like adamant against that, then you'll probably hate this book. But I think it was good enough. Like it was story first, then woke politics next, which I don't mind that. That's why I got that Suicide Squad book, because it was story first, then woke politics next. And then they don't have that Suicide Squad Rebirth Deluxe Edition. But I'll bet you any money it's gonna come in next week anyways, because they said no for Scarlet Witch, and lo and behold, I got it. So next one is Spider-Man and Deadpool. Much better than the first volume. That's because Joe Kelly wrote none of these issues. This is one of those weird ones, and I think I pointed this out before, where they collect random issues. It's just like it's not all of them, because there's no way they collected 1 through 10 or whatever. I could have. But it seems to be the missing issues from volume 1 and 3, and 3 will be the missing volumes from 2 and 3 or whatever, for 1 and 2. But all the missing issues, which is good, is that all the missing issues are just like little, what they call them? Not tie-ins, but like fill-in issues. So they don't follow the story that they're following from last issue. It's actually an issue that anybody could pick up. So I recommend this one because I don't like Joe Kelly at all, like his writing at all. I kind of regret getting his I Kill Giants book. I wish I had looked up who had wrote it before I bought it, because I would have put two and two together. And also, they most likely have it in my library. In fact, if I remember, I'll look that up right now. Not right now. Yeah, I won't know right now. But yeah, I like that. I liked Volume 2 a lot better. It was definitely more of what I wanted from the first volume. And I should definitely solicit Volume 3. Before I forget. Because, I mean, Joe Kelly seems to write for kids, but he's writing for, not for kids. Yeah, kind of. Like, he's writing for kids, but yep, they have the movie. And the book. 49! Jesus Christ! 49! I've never seen it that high before. Okay, damn. Yeah, I'm doing it. I gotta put that on my iPhone, the catalog. But yeah, the I Kill Giants one, I'm kind of reluctant to get into to read because it's Joe Kelly. It's just like he seems to like have a very different writing style from everyone else, but not in a good way. Not like with Warren Ellis and Transmetropolitan Volume 4 has got to be my favorite one out of all of them. It gave me what I wanted from the series and more because it was an unexpected twist, of course. It was just like it's political, yes, but it's easy for me to understand for someone who avoids politics like the fucking plague. But it's not in your face. It's easy to understand. It's interesting. You want to see Spider Jerusalem succeed, and like when shit hits a fan, like, oh my god, that's awful. It's like, holy shit. It's one of those books I highly recommend. The first three were good. I liked the first three. It's just that like they were missing something, and this one gave me what I was missing. I'm gonna take a break from this series. I'm kind of getting sick of it. Not getting sick of it per se, but just kind of like, I don't know. I like this series still, but I think soliciting it when I was just finishing up the last volume was not a good idea because these seem to come out like super fast. In fact, there's 2 of them that came out this week that were also super fast. Maybe it's a week. Maybe they're allowed to do it a week now. I don't know. The books did go off my account because I went on Wednesday last week too, but that was more because at this time it would not have been up yet. But last week I turned the books on Wednesday and they were off my account on Saturday. Outcast Volume 3, another good series, and there's one that I find it really funny. I'm not gonna name him specifically, but there's a fellow comic book YouTuber who doesn't like Outcast, he doesn't like Walking Dead, but he likes Riri Williams' Ironheart. He likes the Wasp one, the recent one that sucked, everyone hated. Yeah, he actually might be an SJW. He might be. No, it's not Comic Drake. It's a different one. But yeah, I never. He does a lot of like overviews. I'm basically spoiling who it is if you know him. And I still like this. I still like him as a YouTuber. It's just his opinions kind of suck, which is fine. You can still like a person and have their opinions suck. But yeah, this one I still liked. This one was a damn good series. It's a damn good series. I highly recommend it. It is definitely a horror story. So if you're not a horror story, definitely is a horror book. So if you're not into horror, you might not like it. And he's not into horror, but he didn't really mention that. I don't know, I didn't want to be labeled as a pussy, even though he reads pussy books. Now, Scarlet Witch. I don't know if it was trying to be Sandman, but I got a lot of Sandman vibes from it, and because of that, I didn't like it. I just thought it was weird and boring and slow and just bad. And I'm so glad I didn't get this. I didn't get this at Newberry for $34.99. And yeah, it would have been 15 issues, but still, I wouldn't have liked it. This is why I like my local library, and well, furthermore, interlibrary loans, because I can read at least the first volume of a series and decide whether or not I'll keep reading it. And it is kind of annoying when they only have volume 1 of something, and I end up really liking it because I probably want to binge the whole series, binge the whole series, and not having volume 1 would be kind of annoying because I have to keep soliciting it. So I would just end up buying it. But it is also nice because I know it was a good series. It was worth checking out. Yeah, this one I just thought it was like it wasn't. It was weird too, but not in a good kind of weird. A lot of talking, not a lot of action. Just a lot of talking about stuff I did not understand, and like they're and I've heard everyone else say it's confusing, and it's like that kind of confusing where they talk about it like you should know what they're talking about. I don't know, but definitely not a series I want to keep reading. Titans, just as good as the first one. This was I think I think Judd Winnick is going to be a new household name for me because I liked the two Titans books. I remember I don't know if I really liked his Green Arrow Black Canary, but I think when I gave it a second chance, I really liked that first issue. I think it's like that first issue in general. I think I don't know. I remember liking one of those issues. I don't know if it was the second time or the first time or whatever, the third time. But yeah, and that speaking of that collection's coming out this week. But it's gonna be $34.99, and it's Mother's Day this weekend, so I'm chancing on the two books I might be getting, and one's $6.99, the other's $3.19. The six actually it's probably $5.99. Yeah, it's Nick Wilson, and at the very least, it's gonna be Nick Wilson and Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, issue 3. Superman Multiplicity. This was really funny because it was right after I had read. It was right after I'd watched. I started this right after I watched. No, it was the second issue because the annual was completely unrelated to the story. But when the multiplicity story started, it was right after I watched Brightburn. And it was kind of funny because I kept making jokes like, "Oh, if we get the evil Superman, like, oh, it's the kid." That Brightburn was okay. And Harold and Kumar was really good. I'm definitely gonna keep getting that movie series. In fact, I should solicit that next. So I'll probably do it like all in one because there's a bunch of them. I'm noticing I didn't solicit Volume 3 of or the next volume of. Chew Volume 3, Just Desserts. I don't know why I emphasize that. May as well go with what it collects. No, I'm not gonna do that. This one was also good. It was much better than the second volume, and it's kind of funny because I felt the same exact way for Wicked and the Divine. I don't know, maybe it's just volume 2, so they're not really good about. That's kind of stupid because that doesn't make any sense because they're two totally different writers. I cannot talk for whatever reason right now. Chew Volume 3 was. Why am I saying it like that? Why did I just lose what I was going to say and I just go back? It's like I basically just rewinded. Like I went back to like, oh, I didn't review this. Yeah, okay, here we go. And I knew I did. I don't know, but this one was probably the best one since Volume 1. Volume 1 is still the best, and that was probably just because I didn't know what Chew was. I don't even know what Chew was. I had no idea what it was. I said it right. It sounded weird. But it was because it was new. It's kind of biased. I like this series, the Peter Parker, Chip Zdarsky, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. It's not the funniest, and there is someone that pointed out that it's not. I didn't. Did I go over that? I don't think I did. I don't know, but I watched a review. No, I didn't. Though I watched a review of someone who had said the show that it wasn't funny, like like Peter Parker Spider-Man takes. I swear, one of these times I'm just gonna short out like a robot. It was gonna like fizzle out, like you know. But this they said that Spider-Man tells a lot of bad jokes in it, and I can definitely see that, but it doesn't hinder it for me because comedy isn't everything in a book like this for me. Like if Spider-Man tells bad jokes, so what? Is the story good? No. Is everything else good? It is, but it did basically finalized. Basically, it made it. Basically, they said yes. Teresa Parker is his sister, and that was stupid. I don't know if they've retconned that. Boring. It's Jonathan Hickman. How can you make this boring? I think it's just not my thing too. They're just talking about stocks and money and shareholders and the company and banks and the Great Depression. I felt like I was reading one of those books they made you read in history class where they're like, look, it's a comic book, it's a comic book, it's fun, look at this, there's pictures, guys, there's pictures, you like pictures, right? Like, that's what it felt like. It felt like something I would read in history class, and I wouldn't care because I'd still be bored. I'm like, I don't care if you make it into a musical, it'll still be boring. It'd be cringe too, if it were a musical. And finally, Y: The Last Man. So damn good. It ends on a huge ass cliffhanger that I did see coming. Like I figured eventually what would happens, but it was still like one of those things where I'm like, oh my god, I gotta read the next one because I didn't know what's gonna happen after. Yeah, these are just the 2 movies. Yeah, like I said, I would like this one. This one was okay. I just feel like they didn't do enough with the premise they could have. That seems to be a general consensus. Let's do a speed round. Recommended, but only for the target demographic, or for anyone who's just interested in the character and doesn't mind being talked down to a bit. I can't emphasize how much the bit is. And it's like the ending is rushed too. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Better than the first volume. Huge recommend. 9 out of 10. That's why I give it 8 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10. Big recommend, major recommend. 7.5 out of 10. Recommend. I mean, it's kind of have to read the first few volumes. Recommend. 8.5 out of 10. 2 out of 10. Not a recommend. 7.5 out of 10. Recommend. And then probably, I mean, more so. Then Wicked and Divine would be a 7 out of 10. 8 out of 10. Recommend. 8 out of 10. Recommend. 8.5 out of 10. Major recommend. Or just recommend. I'm going to say recommend. 1 out of 10. Not recommend. At least Scarlet Witch had more interesting shit in it than that book did. Recommend. 9 out of 10. That's it.